Hello, this is Stefan with Benevolent Brand. I'm here with guest Dave Hutchison, owner of InGoal, founder. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I understand the record's 20 minutes. Let's see how I do on
Yeah.
telling you about myself. Well, I run In Goal Magazine, which is an online magazine for goaltenders and a podcast with my partner, Kevin Woodley. And we've been doing that now for 15 years. And it was a sort of an interesting little story. I had started a bit of a website for goaltenders. I was a teacher and I taught computer science. And I had a bunch of kids. I also ran a boarding house. This is at a boarding school. And I had a lot of kids coming to me telling me all about their entrepreneurship class and all the things that they've been doing on the internet. And I didn't actually have a clue what they were talking about. This whole blogging thing was brand new to me at the time. And I figured I'm a computer science teacher. I better figure out what these guys are talking about. And so I jumped in with both feet. And I did a bunch of different things. But long story short, landed with In Goal Magazine. And round about the 2010 Winter Olympics, just before, I got this phone call out of the blue from a guy named Kevin Woodley who said to me, "You're doing what I've always wanted to do, but I don't know how. But I'm in the locker room with all these guys and you're not. Is there something we can do together?" And took a leap of faith right there, 50% each, and 50% of nothing is really easy to give away. And we got started there and had some really cool stories coming out of the Winter Olympics that were very goalie specific that wouldn't have been interest maybe to the wider sporting audience, but were really fascinating for goalie people. And that's sort of where it all began. And we've been doing that, as I said, for 15 years. 6 years ago or so, we turned it into a subscription magazine because it's basically impossible to survive in the goalie world on advertising. There's just not a lot of money invested in advertising, although we've got great support from some brands out there. And we also added the podcast when Darren Millard, who is the studio host for the Vegas Golden Knights, he was with Sportsnet in Canada before that, and he and I connected actually because I knew he was a goaltender. He was going to a goalie camp that I was helping out with a little bit, and sort of started a conversation and asked him if he wanted to come aboard. So Darren's the glue that holds the podcast together, and so we're both a magazine online with tons of video content. We're a podcast, and every time I bump into a goalie and I say, "Do you know what InGoal Magazine is?" They say, "Oh yeah, I follow you on Instagram." It's way more than Instagram. Instagram, we put little teasers of our stuff up on, but you really have to visit ingoalmag.com to see what all the content is. And really, it's about learning from NHL goaltenders, NHL goalie coaches. We feel so privileged to be able to spend time with a lot of them, and they are such generous people. They're willing to share their knowledge with us and with other young goalies out there, young and old. And so we wanted to be able to bring that to people, give them that experience of working with NHL goalies and coaches and learning from them. So, In Goal Magazine was born, and now you and I are chatting.
A lot of different. I love InGoal because you have the podcast, you have the Instagram, social media, and the videos and everything. So it's all together. Being a goalie too, I use it. I'm a subscriber.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. What's the favorite part about what you do?
What is the favorite part about what I do? For sure, the time we get to spend on the road meeting people, and the time that I get together once a week with Kevin and Darren, because it's just a friendship that is interesting because Darren and I have actually only ever met in person once, and yet we've formed this great relationship, the three of us. So hanging out, producing content is always a ton of fun for us. Getting to meet goalies, getting to meet goalie coaches, and even being, at youth camps, working with young goaltenders as well is always really fascinating. And yeah, that's the best part of it. Although probably 95% of my time is sitting in this office, working away at a computer, turning all that content that we collect at some of these places and turning it around for all the goalies out there to read.
If you had to give me like your top three favorite goalies that you've ever met and talked, who would you say they are and why?
Oh, wow. Gosh, I don't know if I can put it. Favorite's a tough word, right? Because
Favorite is a tough word, yeah.
but it's a tough word because it could imply a whole bunch of different things about these guys. I will say I've had some really maybe some favorite experiences because really universally the guys that we've met have been incredible, and they're, as I said, they're generous, they're super kind people, but have had some really amazing experiences through this. Number one would be Glenn Hall, a name that wouldn't be familiar to a lot of young goaltenders, because he finished his career in late 60s, early 70s. He set the record for over 500 games played without taking a night off, and he did it all without wearing a mask. At that era before the fiberglass mask came to be. He did wear one very briefly towards the end of his career. And we were able to sit down with him in his living room in Stony Plain, Alberta, and have a great conversation. And he's such a warm person. He's very funny. And so getting to do something like that, very, very cool experience with an absolute legend of the game. Carey Price, just overall, has been a fantastic person to work with. For all the goalies that we've seen, it becomes kind of a routine thing, if that makes sense. It's just normal to be bumping into these guys, and they are very normal people. But the first time Carey Price walked into our room where I was, and I know my partner feels the same way, there's a little bit of that giddy fan feeling, because he had just come off the Hart Trophy, the Vezina Trophy, and it's just such a legend in the game. But super warm person who has helped us on multiple occasions, bumped into us a year later and right away starts asking about our families and how nice it is to see us after a long time. So just what a good person he is. And then obviously unbelievable goaltender and an unbelievable way of talking us through some of the things that he did as well. So that was a very cool experience. But I'll add to that, just to make it such a cool experience for me, is my son is a goaltender. He's now 19. But way back when he was, I'm going to say 11 or 12 years old, he actually did a Carey Price interview for us. He brought a whole bunch of questions from other kids and sat down, and he was so nervous. But what was really neat was we actually were on a pretty limited time because it was lunch break at a camp. And Carey just said, don't worry about it. Take your time. We got all day if we need it. And that, again, just speaks about his character. So that's two. And then there's so many other guys that have just been really great with us. I don't know how I would pick out one in particular. I don't think I can. I don't know that I can pick a third out, but I would say one that I would love to is the guy that was, and I have met him, but not in the in-goal context, is the guy that sort of set the tone for me growing up was Ken Dryden. The great Montreal Canadiens goaltender, was kind of my hero as a goalie when I was growing up. And the very first time I volunteered to coach goalies, I was in university at the time, in grad school, went back to my old high school to help out the goalies, and walked in the dressing room, and the first thing I hear is, hey, Dryden, pass the tape. And my heart just sort of skipped a beat because I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to have to coach his kid? How could I do that? Thankfully, it was his son, but he was a defenseman, so I didn't have that kind of pressure. So, yeah, Ken Dryden, definitely a legend for me as well. But so many great guys.
A lot of cool stories, I'm sure. Cool
Yeah,
experiences.
so many. Yeah.
And in terms of
Who's
what
your
you do,
favorite? Who's your
for
favorite?
me, I would say Fleury's my favorite. I'm
Yeah,
actually trying to, being in Minnesota, I know he's in Canada right now, but I really would love to have him come on and kind of do a similar thing. 'Cause
yeah,
he's definitely my favorite goalie that's ever played in the NHL. It's probably more everyone just knows his personality too, right? Just in
absolutely.
terms of like just who he is as a person too,
Yeah,
and just his
absolutely.
presence. He's definitely one I'd love to meet.
Yeah, I add that to the list because my partner Kevin did it on our behalf, and I've yet to meet him myself.
I listened to that one a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's cool. It's just getting
Yeah.
different perspectives, different opinions. And in terms of what you do on an everyday basis, do you have any certain kind of motto or value or any kind of faith that you live by that kind of guides you in doing what you love?
Well, I would say today, as I am now, I'm a spiritual person. Faith is a bit of a challenge, but I did grow up in a Christian household. My father is an Anglican bishop, archbishop, actually Episcopal, if you're American, would be the equivalent. And I love my father to bits and everything that he taught me growing up. But for myself, I went down the path of science, and so I think questioning is more of a thing for me. So faith isn't quite as strong. But definitely a spiritual person. Definitely um, the time that I spend out in nature and is vital just for rejuvenating me and keeping me going. And I do find a spiritual nature when I am outside. Um, but in terms of what guides us day to day, I think everything is just about what can we give to other people and how can we help other people. It is such a pleasure to be able to share what we do with others. We always just err on the side of what's the right thing to do and how can we share the joy that we have with others and help them sort of embrace the great position that we all enjoy. And I know that sometimes it can be a challenge in hockey because there are some times that are pretty stressful, and maybe kids are put into some situations that are difficult for them, and families are. And so being able to share some of what I've been through and help people navigate some of that to try and smooth out some of those edges. It's never going to be perfect, but that's something that's really important to me too. But yeah, it's a as I mentioned earlier when you asked me what it is that I enjoy the most about InGoal, it's about connecting with people. So uh, it's funny, as an individual, I would describe myself as an introvert. I love the time that I spend on my own at my desk doing work, uh, as I said, wandering the trails and so on. And yet, when I walk into a hockey rink, I become a different human being, and I can walk up to any person I see in a rink that looks like a goalie parent and start a conversation. I can have a conversation with any kid on the ice and love every minute of it. The hockey rink is a special place for me, and it changes who I am as a human being, and I like to think in a good way.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's definitely. Just kind of going back to that faith part. What's cool is we're all in different kind of stages in our spiritual faith journey too. So there's not necessarily like you have to be in this position at this time or like in terms of your experience. And everyone has different backgrounds, right? So for me, it's
Absolutely.
cool to connect and get different perspectives on everything. Just to kind of wrap up, do you have any last minute words of wisdom? Anything you want to share?
Last minute words of wisdom. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Maybe that's what I should have answered when you said, "Do I have a something I live by or a philosophy or something?" Because that is the message I try and remind people. One of the things I bring to the podcast we do is the segment for parents. Every week we have something for parents, and I think it's just a reminder that we're on this journey to have fun. And if we take it too seriously, it's possible for hockey to really make life tough on all of us. And we have to relax and remember why it is that we're playing the game and why it is that we bring our kids to the rink every day. And it's for all of us to enjoy that experience. And I hope that we're able to bring a little bit of that to people to help them enjoy their time at the hockey rink and at home, mums, dads, kids, and so on.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing and thanks for listening.
My pleasure. Great to be here.